In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, one God. Last time we started a small series prompted by the commandment that God gave us, and this is a commandment: do not let your heart be troubled. And we started to talk about, okay, what are ways that we can do because to not let our heart be troubled, because not worrying is a decision, and worrying is a decision. It is in your hand to let your heart not be troubled, or to let it be troubled. And last time we looked at a few points. We said, first of all, remember that the Lord is your shepherd. He's got your back. He made you. He's responsible for you. Our state needs to be like the state of this child right here. Okay, content, peace, stillness, knowing that the Lord is my shepherd. He's got me. Number two, remember at all the times you were ever troubled and worried before, and then nothing happened. So many. And all the times that we were troubled or worried, and God fixed it by the evidence that we are here right now, sitting here, breathing and living today, that He fixed it. And what a waste that was. Also, try to live in today. Focus in today. Don't let all the regrets of yesterday or the worries of tomorrow steal your today from you. Because then you never experience today until one day you're like 80 and you look around and you're like, okay, what just happened? How did this happen so fast? And people say, oh, time flies so fast. They grow up so fast. It's usually because we're not really enjoying or living today. And then lastly, humble yourself. That do your best and God will do the rest. As a person who is not doing so great in the department of humility is often worried and burdened and troubled because they feel like it's up to me to fix things. This is on me to fix it, as opposed to I'm responsible for the effort and I don't control the results. So today, actually, it's interesting how the readings, God arranges for us the readings of the gospel, where it ends with like, in the world you will have tribulation, but be of good cheer, I have overcome the world. So while you are having tribulation, still be of good cheer. Let your heart not be troubled. We're continuing actually now to look at a few more points on how to not let our heart be troubled, which is what we're going to talk about today. First of all, know God and grow and keep growing in knowing God. One of the main reasons, if not the actual main reason, of why our hearts are troubled is that because we don't know God, or we don't know God well enough. If you are a worrier, if this is your typical state, your typical modus operandi, or whatever they call it, your typical behavior or thinking, then let me ask you a question. How would you expect the demeanor or attitude or mentality of an older Christian person to be like as they get older and older and older? It should be an attitude or mentality of like tranquility and peace and joy, just an untroubled. If you notice that people who are older and they are really close to God, nothing disturbs them. Why is that? Because they've experienced God. They have spent a lot more time knowing God. They have read the Bible dozens and dozens and dozens of times, and they know exactly who God is and how He operates and how He deals with people. They know that He's our shepherd. He said they are of good cheer because they know God. This is what our entire purpose is knowing God. If you are really growing and knowing God, your heart will be troubled less and less and less. So if you catch yourself worrying a lot, not ever, but a lot or like often troubled, maybe even sometimes troubled, check yourself and see how have you been doing in working on your growing your relationship with knowing God. I guarantee you it needs some boosting, some work. Second thing, in order to not let your heart be troubled, is don't listen to what troubles you. Duh, right? We are so dumb, y'all. I'll prove it to you. Stop tormenting yourself with anti-social media. I'm making a movement. Like I want everybody to do hashtags. I'm not calling it social media anymore. I'm calling it anti-social media because that's exactly what it is. Tell me the last time you got on social media and you saw somebody posting pictures like this. Bedhead, gunk in your eyes, kitchen is full of dishes and it's all nasty looking, or this child who's so stubborn that they've been crying and wailing for an hour with this bite of food in her mouth because she will not swallow it. Or your children, typical behavior, fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting and screaming and all. Who posts these pictures? I haven't seen stuff like that in ever, really. Do you post pictures like that? No. What pictures do you post? Or people post? No, instead of this bedhead thing, I'm going to put this picture here. I'm going to have the makeup all done. I have some sort of green blanket or hoodie or something on my head. Let's have some fan blowing a little breeze of air, to make it look like whatever, just perfect. And take the picture like 27 times until you find the bestest one, and then you edit it a little bit, and then you post that. That's what we post. Do we post our kitchens looking like this? No, we post them looking like this. It's all pristine, perfect, clean, the sun is shining, and I don't know who puts a bouquet of flowers and some slices of oranges next to their sinks just for looks or something, but hey, why not? This is our house. This is my kitchen. I finally moved to our new apartment or whatever, right? That's what we do. And we don't show this picture of our children. We show this picture of our children. Angel, sweet, nothing, Of course, after bribing her with like 2 bags of chocolate and I don't know how many lollipops and like getting a professional photographers to do it. You know what I'm saying? This is what we post. And we don't post this fighting. No, we post them doing this. No, Father, he's not heavy. He's my brother. We love each other. We're like best friends. Right? This is what we post. And I told you I'll prove to you how dumb we are. I think this proves it. And here comes the dumbest thing ever. Even though we post pictures that are very rare and yet very precious moments, when we see pictures that others post, consciously or subconsciously, I hope it's subconsciously, we assume that this is how their life is 24/7. And then our heart begins to be troubled. And we check and see how many likes did this get, and why did this one get a like, but this one did not a like? Why did this person like this picture that someone else posted, but didn't like my picture that someone else? How futile. And then we wonder, why is our heart so troubled? Another big one about listening to what troubles you. News. News today, I'm sure you'll all be nodding when I say it's exaggerated, it's twisted, it's finagled, and it's made to control and direct what the public thinks. It's not about reporting news anymore. Do you agree? Yes, we do agree. And on top of that, we talked about this before maybe a year or so ago, how negative news captures the attention much more than positive news. This has been studied and proved. So what would the sources of news do if they want you to keep glued to your screen, if they want you to keep watching? They're going to finagle, exaggerate, and make up lots of news to control your mind, and you better believe it, over 90% of it will be negative, if not 100% of it, in order to get you to keep watching. And this is all, as you know, whenever you ask the question why, it's always about money. We're familiar with this verse, 1 Timothy 3:10. It says, "For the love of money is the root of all evils." But we don't pay attention to the end of the verse. It says, "For which some, by longing for it, have strayed from the faith and troubled their heart, and pierced themselves through with many sorrows." That's what it's all about. And then we wonder, why do we let our heart be troubled so much? And now the worst of the worst is combine those two together. The echo chamber of fake, exaggerated news, and then I get on social media and fight with people who I don't know about news that is fake in order to make a point that nobody cares about. And then we wonder, why is our heart troubled? I'm sorry, but we're so dumb. I came across this beautiful verse as I was preparing for this talk, which is from Ecclesiastes. It says, do not take to heart everything people say. Ecclesiastes 7:21. It's not a very familiar verse. And I liked it so much that I put it in Arabic too. لا تدع قلبك على كل الكلام الذي يقال. And this is actually a very good segue to our next way to not let our heart be troubled. For those who are listening to a podcast or audio or whatever, this is a picture. It's like a Far Side caricature where the cat is sitting on the doctor's bed, looking all stressed out, and the doctor has the hand on the shoulder saying, sorry, it's curiosity. You know, curiosity killed the cat. 1 Thessalonians 4:11, look at this. It says, aspire and make it your ambition. What do we aspire and make it our ambition for some things? What? To get so many degrees, to make so much money, to travel so many countries? Or he's saying what? Aspire and make it your ambition to lead a quiet life, to mind your own business. Make your life ambition to mind your own business. Note to self. Is this my business? No. Okay. Mind your own business. Huge tip to not let your heart be troubled. Proverbs 26:17, it says, he who passes by meddles in a quarrel not his own is like one who takes a stray dog by the ears. Imagine you see a dog in the street and you just grab it by the ears. Stray dog. What's it gonna do? Right away. You know, right? It's that dumb. Walking by, meddles with some quarrel. It's not your own. Inta malak. You know, life has enough trouble, right? Mind your own business. You make trouble for yourself and you add trouble to the trouble that's already existing. Make this your life ambition, to mind your own business. That's God talking, not me. Ecclesiastes 1:18, it says, he who increases knowledge increases sorrow. You know what kind of knowledge? Is it knowledge of the Bible? No. Is it knowledge of virtues? Knowledge of the lives of the saints? No. This will not increase your sorrow. It's knowledge that is not your business. This will increase your sorrow. It's become a hobby for a lot of us. Sometimes, and I see this, y'all you don't know, but we notice. You be walking, and then you hear something, and it's like something pulled your ear, and you stand like this to hear what's going on. Mind your business. The more you mind your business, the less your heart will be troubled. The last one I'm going to mention today is that remember that the worst fear is fear itself. A lot of us, what troubles our heart is not the undesirable event, it's thinking about the undesirable event. I've come across many people who have this chronic ailment, okay, something they're complaining about, and it's tormenting them, and they go to this doctor and they don't know, they go to that doctor, they don't know. It's terrible. It's like torture to them. And eventually, when they find out what is happening, even if it's bad news, it's like they feel better. Because they know they're not crazy. Now they know what's happening. It's the unknown is what torments us. Philippians 4:6 is a very famous verse. It says, be anxious for nothing. Another commandment. For nothing, not a thing. Okay? Last time we alluded to this about the infinite loop. Remember, we talked about how person thinking about maybe there's going to be layoffs and then what's going to happen. I'm going to pay the bills and the mortgage and all that stuff, and just, churning on this and numerating on it over and over and over. It's like, stop doing that to yourself. Because we think about it, go, okay, let's say you got fired. What's going to happen? And then you talk about, okay, I'll do this and then I'll do that and do that. And it's not so bad. It's just the waiting, the anticipation, and the not knowing that's tormenting. But look at how do you not be anxious for nothing. It's the rest of the verse. Philippians 4:6 and 7. Be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving. With thanksgiving. Let your requests be made known to God, and what happens? And then your heart will not be troubled anymore. And then the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will keep your hearts and minds. Surpasses all understanding is so true. I have had the privilege of walking with people and observing people go through the hardest most unimaginable things that a person can go through in life. And with many of them, I've seen them have peace that surpasses understanding. Even I was sitting there and looking at it like, wow, good for you. That's awesome. Why? Because they decided, I'm not going to be anxious for it. God is still my God. He's still my shepherd. He's still my father. He still got me. All of these things we talked about. So, how can we not let our heart be troubled? First of all, make sure that you're always growing in knowing God. If you tend to find that you worry a lot and you overthink a lot, check yourself and see if you really are growing in knowing God. I bet you that that's lacking somehow. Number two, simply do not listen to what troubles you. Don't be dumb. Let's make a deal, a pact with each other. We will not be dumb. Okay? We will not buy the finagled, twisted, exaggerated, fake news, and we will not pay attention to anti-social media. Mind your own business, and your heart will not be troubled. And then lastly, remember that the worst fear is fear itself. Avoid that infinite flow. God willing, we'll talk with the last part of this series next Sunday at Pentecost, Colosanto Taibin. Glory be to our God forever and ever. Amen.